Like the generation we have right now are like, no, I won't be saying sorry. What do you think about that?
I think that's scary. It's communication and it's compromise and it's honesty.
How did this concept really come about Lahana? How did it come up?
I think that the children, kids of this generation who are looking for partners, and we created Lahana.
Marrying early is better or marrying late is better?
I feel know who you are and then you can get married.
Is there any point of time you have disagreed to something, and do you take time to process all that disagreement?
Sometimes you feel underappreciated by your children, by your husband, even though we do such a great balancing act, I think, as women.
How do you define respect in a fight?
I think just kind of being mindful of your own boundaries as well. I feel like also respecting the other person's boundaries as well.
So how can people grow in marriage?
Everyone's journey is different, but I think you have to look at it as a partnership. I think you should have unified vision or a goal of,
in our community, there's a stigma of, staying together until both partner or one of the partner cheat or do some domestic violence. So do you think divorce should be done if they are unhappy? What's your say on that? Hello and namaste everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Raw Talk with Resilient Woman by Sudikshya Shrestha, where we sit down and hear the story of women from different grounds. Today, in this session, we will dive deep into the perspective on marriage, relationship, and as I sit down with three incredible women who had just started their journey on matchmaking, let's hear their say on it. So, let's join me in welcoming Pushpa, Kalpana and Kanchan. Also follow me on TikTok and Instagram. As you know, the short clip of this very long session for the value will be uploaded there. Thank you so much, three incredible women in my set. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for having us.
Okay, should we get started?
Sure. Let's do it.
Okay, let's start with the introduction.
Okay, hello everyone. My name is Kalpana Lamisani. I am, by day, I am a domestic violence advocate and caseworker for a women's charity. I'm also a part of Lahana. So I do Lahana with Pushpa, Didi and Kanchan. So the three of us, we work together for Lahana. It's a matchmaking company for the Nepalese community in the UK. So yeah, that's a new thing. But I'm also a mum of two. I'm married. I have a cat. So that's what makes me me. Yeah.
Okay, wow, that was cool intro. No typo. You.
Hi, I'm Pushpa and I have a dog. His name is Mateo. He's like the love of our lives. I also have 3 children.
Wow.
Just to mention the dog first.
I'll mention the dog first. Oh yeah, and I'm married.
Yeah.
I have a husband.
Yeah.
I'm also, I've got my own business. Well, I've got 2 businesses now. So I've got a travel business, and which we also do event management as well.
Wow.
And I've started with these 2 lovely Bainis of mine. We've done Lahana, we do matchmaking.
Wow. Incredible. Now it's your turn.
Hey, so my name's Kanchan. So as well as doing Lahana with these lovely ladies, I'm also a train driver. So I drive the Piccadilly line. I have 2 kids as well that are currently doing their GCSEs. I also have a cat.
I have to mention
Cat lovers.
Cat lovers. And I also have a husband. I shouldn't leave him love, should I? That was really bad. I'm sorry. I really love you, honey.
Oh,
Yeah.
making us look bad now.
Okay. Just to give a heads up, this session is going to be so different and much more fun, I believe. Yeah. Okay. So
Keep it down.
yeah. So let's get started with how did this concept really come about Lahana? How did it come up?
Okay, so many years ago, because we're all 3 of us are British born, we were born here, and we've all had different types of marriages. Let's say Colton's had a love marriage, I've had arranged,
I've had a arranged
love
love.
marriage and everything. So now as we're growing up and we've got a lot of like aunties and uncles that approached us and say, oh, mero chora ko lagi khoj deo, mero chori ko lagi khoj deo. And us as individuals, I have done quite a few matchmaking. They're married and got children. Kalpana's also done, and so has Kanchan. So I've always told them, like, we always used to connect anyway. So then I thought, right, okay, let's get together and do this as something more solid and create. It's not, I wouldn't like to say it's like a proper business. It's like also a community service. And I think that the children, the kids of this generation who are looking for partners, want a little push, maybe meet each other in the Nepali community, get them together, and we created Lahana.
Wow.
It started off over glasses of copious amounts of wine, and all the best ideas come when you're having wine. So
Not
that's
me,
what
not
happens.
me.
No, you drank. Oh,
We drank.
we drank the wine. Yeah.
Right, yeah. So we were just chatting one day, and we talked about how each one of us were matchmaking at the time, and we had quite successful matches, and we just went, actually, you know, why don't we do this officially?
Yeah.
And we've been doing it since when,
Yeah.
2022.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, actually, because we
Since
got quite a few.
2022?
Because we actually got quite a few inquiries, didn't we, as individuals? And we just thought, oh my God, I said, Kalpana, do you have a guy for this girl? And I'd be asking Kanchan, and then Kanchan would be asking me, and then we thought, oh my God, let's just get together.
Oh.
It was over dinner, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And like you said, a few bottles of wine in the dining room, and while we're sitting down, because hey, come on, let's just do it, and then here we are.
Ah, okay. So, you know, matchmaking concept, it's quite not new, let me tell you, yeah?
No.
Yeah, because in the trend of social media, do you think this business will flourish? What do you think about that?
Well, we're
I-
trying.
Till now, this is a very tough question to ask,
Yeah.
though, yeah?
Yeah.
So, how many matchmaking you have done till now?
Quite a few. We've got some which are ongoing.
Mm.
What it is it's not like, so I had a typical arranged marriage. So I met him a few times when I was in Nepal on holiday, and a year later after we got married, and back then there was no internet, we're just writing letters.
Oh.
And old school, which I've still got.
Old school, yeah.
So it was, and we had to buy those little Swift cards to talk on the phone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
God, I really sound old now. Yeah, so it's not anything like that. So what we wanted to do was get people together, not just from social media, but from families as well. But the social media is a base, so they know who we are.
Yeah.
But a lot of our individuals that do come to us are through word of mouth, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, people
we've got
that
a lot of
we
families
know,
coming
a lot
to
of
us.
families.
If we go to any events, people come up to us and say, you know, we know you from Lahana, if they don't know us personally. And they say, you know, we've seen you on social media. I've got someone in my family that needs help. We want to, you know, get them together with someone. And the thing is, we understand we're in the UK, you know, people want to meet people organically.
Yeah.
But, you know, we're just doing an introduction system here. It's like saying, okay, how about you and you? You look like you would match. Your personalities, you know, your jobs, everything, the things that you want from people, we can kind of like see you being together. Rather than just an app to look at pictures and go, yeah, left, right. We thought it'd be better to connect people like that and say, look, go for coffee, see how you feel. I mean, we've come up with a new initiative, a blind date initiative.
Wow.
That I think would be much better. I think people look at pictures and they're so used to social media now, and everything has to be instant. Instant gratification through social media. 5 seconds, that's it, I'm done. Rather than that, if we match people's personalities and say, I think you'd make a good match, but sometimes people aren't photogenic. Some people don't provide us the right photos. You know, they're not in a studio taking photos or anything. It's just natural photos. So what we think is, with this blind date idea, we were thinking, get together with a coffee. It's just a blind date. You just have a coffee together, and if you click, you click. Because when I got together with my husband, she had to basically force me to go to Nepal. She was like,
Yeah, no, I said there's you know, no harm in meeting the person.
yeah.
If you
I
don't
think
like
you
him,
need
you
a lot
don't
of
like him.
encouragement
But just
sometimes. And sometimes when it's your own family doing it, you hate it, you rebel against it.
Yeah.
When I was young, I really rebelled against the idea of my parents introducing me to someone. So we're like the mediator person. We don't know you that well until you come to us and say, this is what I want.
Okay.
And we don't take advice from your parents, but we're dealing with you as a person. And we're saying, hey, let's see what you want. Let's see what that person wants. Let's see if you can work together. But I think that because people want gratification straight away, they're looking at photos going, I don't think this guy would be for me, or I don't think this woman would be for me. Sometimes you've got to meet them. I met my husband and I thought, I'm never going to get together with someone from Nepal. Never, ever.
Okay.
He studied law in Nepal. I studied law here. And I was like, I'm not getting together with anyone from Nepal. He's going to be misogynistic. He's going to tell me to be in the kitchen, do this or do it. He cooks better than me.
Oh, wow.
And he's been the most supportive person in the 22 years I've been married. I've got to say, he's been the most supportive person ever. And I'm not saying that's the same for everyone. I'm just saying I was very lucky in that instance. And when we first met, it wasn't like, when Bollywood films, when you have to go and give tea. I said, I'm not doing that. So we met up in a restaurant. We met up in Fire and Ice in Tamil. It was quite funny. Yeah, and we
We're
met
not
up there.
sponsored by Fire and Ice,
No,
by the
we're
way.
not. They do amazing pizza and they do amazing ice cream there.
Yeah, just Satik.
Yeah, so no, we met up there, and it like a few hours later we were like, oh, okay, this person seems all right.
Wow.
Yeah, and we were like, okay, maybe this can go ahead. Maybe we can move forward with this. And when he asked me, what did you think? Why did you say yes to me? Why did you think it would be all right? And I said, you gave me the feeling of home. It wasn't like love at first sight. You gave me the feeling where I'd be comforted and that you could look after me and I could look after you and we'd be good together. I felt that. When you come in from a cold winter's day in the UK and you come home and it's warm and heated. That's how I felt when I met him. So I think
Such a beautiful way of expressing it.
I think we're trying to recreate that for people that want to meet people of the same culture, same country. I'm not saying that we're in UK. I'm not saying you can't date a white person or person of color or anything. What I'm saying to you is if you want to meet someone from a similar background as yourself, want to meet someone who knows about your culture, your religion or whatever, this is a good place to start because, we can see people want to come to us and say, look, I need help. I want to meet someone from Nepal, but I want them to be like, this type of, I have got this type of job. Would they be okay with that? This is the personality traits I like. Family orientated or whatever, social, non-social, whatever, but we're just trying to help people out. That's the thing.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah.
So how do you mingle people with their personalities? How do you do that?
So we have so when we get a new person signing up with us, we'll have a one-to-one with them, try to understand their outlook in life and what their requirements are in a partner. And so they share basically all their details about themselves and what they're looking for. And then we have a database of people that are sort of, and then we just sit there and match, don't we? That's what we do. We kind of go, this is this kind of person, he's looking for this kind of person. And because we've, talked to all the matches, we kind of know where it can, where it could potentially work. So, and then we don't share photographs until the profiles are sort of approved.
Okay.
So they first the other person. So we'll go back to the person and say, look, we've got potentially a person who's maybe a dentist. She's 5'4". She's from this background. Her outlook is like this, and this is her personality and stuff. What do you think? And then they'll be like, okay, can I have some more information about this? We go back to the other person. So there is a process before they actually, so we try to as much as possible before kind of focusing on the looks and things that a lot of their requirements match. And then we progress onto the photograph stage. Wow. So at the moment, we've got multiple sort of matches going on at the moment. But what happens very often is sometimes they don't like the photograph. Sometimes, they want to see another match, or sometimes they go on 2-3 dates with that person. And then later on along down the line, they're like, this person's not for me. So we start again. So what I'm trying to say is it's a long process and it can be hit and miss. So it is quite it's not an easy job to match people. And then some people have been dating for quite a long time. We've got one match who's been dating for how many? 3 years now?
Wow.
Yeah. So so it looks like it's going to progress onto marriage.
Yeah.
Wow.
But, to get to that stage, it's not like shopping.
like-
It's not shopping for
It's
vegetables,
not like-
basically.
Yeah, we've also had a couple that were dating for like 3-4 months and it didn't work.
Yeah.
So they decided not to. And then we've had couples also that speak to each other on Instagram or whichever social media platform that is safe for them. Because, you know, it's so easy now. You can just block the person if you don't want to have anything to do with them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's quite easy. So we've had people and they come back, oh, Didi, you know, he just wasn't, I didn't feel the vibe. I didn't feel right. Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
But one thing which we collectively say is don't ghost the person. At least tell us. Like you can have a gentleman who might want to match with this girl and the girl doesn't want them and doesn't tell us anything and just ghosts us as well as the person. I think that's not very nice. If you're not interested, we just at least say, let us know. If you don't want to speak to the person directly, let us know and we'll let them know, okay, didn't work out.
It's all about honesty, I think, and
Yeah.
transparency.
And
If you can be honest with us and you
Yeah.
can say, if you don't want to speak to that person, that's fine. We're not going to force you.
and going
We're
back
not
to
actually
the,
your parents.
yeah, but going back to the blind date as well, we want to let everyone know that it's going to be in a safe environment, and we'll make sure that it's public, and we'll let you know so we know where they are. So we say, okay, meet up in this cafe at this time, so we know where they are. Well, we might sometimes take a peek and make sure that they're okay and make sure they're speaking to the right person.
I mean, there's always a
She's a mum, isn't it?
there's always a check in, check out.
Yeah,
process.
check in, make
That's
sure they're
so
comfortable.
important.
And I think right now it's very important.
Yeah, it
So
is.
for on both sides, sides of the guy as well as the girl.
Okay. So let's hear about your story before you got married, like how you got matched. Yeah, quite a bit. Let's hear about that. Yeah.
Okay, so I was a very young 18-year-old girl. So I went with my parents to Nepal. And my parents had a phone call from a mutual uncle and auntie that I've known since I was a young baby, let's say, since I was a baby. And they had a match for someone they knew. Spoke to my mum and said, look, why don't we get them together?
Yeah.
So then my dad wasn't there at the time. So my mum asked my dad, obviously, rang him up and said, right, okay, ke garni, dekhauni ke garni, yo geta cha, Pushpa ko lagi, blah, blah, blah. So my dad goes, ramro gar. Obviously, does all the background checks first, all the background checks. And it was ekjana chiniko dai ko, wife ko dai. So, yeah. Dai, mero chiniko dai ko, wife ko dai सँग मिलाको. So we knew, so we know that family, त्यो दाइको family, it's all mutual. So I know the Dai very, very well since I was a kid.
Yeah.
And his dad kind of spoke to my dad and got it together. So I was in Nepal and we met at this uncle's house. And I was sitting down, so she didn't want to do the tea coffee thing, but I did. Because we were there. I didn't come out with a teacup or anything like that. So we were sitting like this, and waiting for this gentleman to come and arrive. And then I heard the car. We're in Nepal, by the way. I can't remember what place we were. So in the car, so I looked down to see, and this handsome.
You said you look like American.
Yeah, the
American just like
walks out of his car and comes upstairs. He was nervous as hell. I was nervous. I was like this.
Yeah.
And his mum was there as well, my sasu, bless her.
Yeah.
My moi. And moi, she sat where you were sitting and I was sitting down like this, looking down. And he's not looking up and I'm not looking up. And my mother-in-law was just staring at me with a big smile on her face. Just staring, she seemed happy.
Yeah.
So I think she liked me and forced him to marry me.
I don't think that's true.
And that's it. No. Then afterwards there was हाम्रो Dwaisab. And Dwaisab goes, la, duijana mati konsima gaira kura gara.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
That's
so it
typical.
was like
So filmy.
so filmy.
Yeah, so filmy.
Yeah, and then I didn't want to get up.
Yeah.
So he got up, because my husband's quite a tall, big guy. Yeah. And then he went up and then we spoke and we connected over football.
Wow. Okay. Football.
You talk about Tottenham.
We spoke about Tottenham. We spoke about the teams that he supported because I've got loads of brothers and cousins and they're all Tottenham fans, unfortunately. And anyway, so we bonded over that. And then because we had that rapport, because it was something I'm used to, I was brought up with lots of boys and brothers in my family. So then because of that, and we just kind of clicked and and then we met a few times after that, and a year later we're married, and 30 years down the line, 29 years I should say, 30 years this year, I've got 3 children and a dog.
Happily married.
Happily married,
Yeah,
yeah,
happily ever
exactly.
after. How about you, Kalpana? Let's have a
God, mine is like masaledar,
yeah.
filmy,
Come on.
love story
Yeah.
tha mero, है?
Yeah.
So basically, we were really young. I mean, the bachcha thi. I was like 17, he was 19. That's when we started dating. But I'll be honest, I met him when I was 15.
What?
He was 17. Yeah.
15.
So I know, okay, basically, but we didn't really
was
talk
young
to
as
each
well,
other.
though.
But
Bas
he
was
was
quite
really
young.
young.
Yeah, Bas was.
So it was like, I'll be honest, it was May 1995 ma.
She remembers the day.
I know, I don't even remember.
I know.
our
It's
marriage
because Birendra Sarkar had come to embassy. And there was this big reception in his honor and things like that. And I was there. Bas was there as well. Yeah. And then we just saw each other again. And then we were just like, खाली के एकअर्कालाई हेर्ने हाँसे गर्यो हैन
Puppy love.
त्यस्तो के गर्यो हैन गर्यो हैन. But we never spoke. Yeah, we actually we did. त्यस्तै हुन्छ नि अब लाइक 15 वर्षमा खाली खिट गरेर खाली के त्यस्तो गरी हाँस्न मन लाग्छ नि त्यस्तो भयो. Anyway, so that was when we actually met. And it's actually a really long story. Yeah, like I'll be honest with you, basically an aunt of mine passed away. So uncle remarried and he had empty rooms in his house, and then it turned out, I didn't realize, but basically my husband Bas, his family were a part of the Parashtra. So he was foreign ministry. I mean, he was actually from the embassy. Right. So when his family went back, they left him here and he rented out one of the rooms in my uncle's house. Yeah. So we were like shocked to see each other. Yeah, this is 2 years later. So I was 17 and he was 19, and we instantly recognized each other from 2 years ago when we met at the embassy. And it was just really weird how we just met each other again. Ani त्यसपछि पनि के, like we would randomly meet in random places. Yeah, with बेलामा I was doing A levels, 6th form ma थिएँ. And I remember I was doing theatre studies at the time. के, अनि एकचोटि we were going to see some theatre show with my friends from 6th form. And we saw, and like my friend was saying to me, do you have a boyfriend? I said, I don't have a boyfriend. And then she was like, yeah, but you must like someone. I said, there is actually this guy. He's like this banda bande. He walked past the bus. I go, it's that guy. I said, it's him. I go, that's the guy I like. And he was just walking with his friends, right? I guess so like this to like coincidence. Like, and my friends were like, oh, he's Mr. Destiny. Like he just keeps popping up in your life. Randomly, yeah. And down there, like we would talk, and the rest. We had like lots of like things happen in between, and we officially started dating. We had caste differences.
Yeah.
I'm from a Mughal family, and he's bound basically, and his family, nobody from his family has ever married into caste.
Yeah.
So it was a big challenge when my family found out and things. My mom was quite supportive. My mom and dad, they were both quite supportive actually, because they were really pleased that I found somebody who was Nepali. They didn't care, that it wasn't the same caste, main कुरा चाहिँ नेपाली पर्यो भनेर चाहिँ उहाँहरूलाई चाहिँ they were happy ढुक्क क्या, and they were like, oh राम्रै केटा खोजी छे, that's they were like that, yeah, and so from my husband's side of the family, Bas's side of the family, there was some kind of aligati, aligati hesitance, yeah, because like in caste baat, eventually without that, say like they agreed, and then we got engaged, and mom and dad came. They were posted in India at the time. They came from India, and then we got engaged, and then a year later we got married.
Wow.
So my छोटकरीमा भने तर भित्र
Yeah, a lot.
कस्तो थियो. Oh my god, it was quite hard.
This makes sense, because you have been happily married. You are so happy. And this thing now makes a total sense. What you guys are doing.
Passing the love to the next generation.
Yeah, you are. Yeah.
I like Mr. Destiny. I think we're going to use that for our next.
My friends used to call him Mr. Destiny.
So you have like lots of point of views for marriage, and the relationship. You have like a very good
Yeah,
point of view.
absolutely.
So let's dive into the questions. Yeah?
Go ahead.
Okay, I'd like to ask, so on your perspective, marrying early is better or marrying late is better?
Oh, okay. So I believe I got married very young. Okay, so I was just 20, just coming up to 20 when I got married. And my daughter, she's 27, she'll be 28 this year.
Wow.
And I have a second daughter who's 22, and my son is only 14, so he's got a long way to go. So my daughters are not married, and I feel let them do, settle out their career first, know who you are, and then you can get married. And I feel that you shouldn't get married at an age where you don't even know what life is about.
Yeah.
I think back in the 90s, my parents probably thought that, oh, bia गरेर ठिक हुन्छ, घर बस्छ, life त्यसमै हुन्छ, काम गर्न थाल्छ, पढ्छ, all of that came later. But then for me, it was very important for me to tell my girls that education comes first, career comes first, settle yourself and be independent, don't depend on anybody, and that is the right time to get married. You could be early 20s, you could be early 30s, you could be in your early 40s. It's up to you. Whenever it feels right, I think that's the best time to get married.
Yeah. Wow, that was a lovely answer.
Yeah.
Good answer. It's a really good answer.
Yeah.
I couldn't have said it better.
So it's been almost 20 plus years you all have been married, eh? So is there any point of time like you have disagreed to something, and do you take time to process all that disagreement? The question is for you.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah.
All the time. All the time we have disagreements.
Yeah.
But the best thing is, him and me, we're both good at communicating. I mean, less so for him in the beginning, because I think in Nepal it's all about males being men of the house, and we're the earners and we should provide. He used to think like that. I think he's evolved. I think our relationship has evolved as well. It's been 22 years, so we learned a lot from each other. There was no, I think with Didi, she had an arranged marriage, bang, we're living together and that's it.
Yeah.
For Kalpana, she was evolving while she met him and dated and so on. I didn't have the dating because I was here, but we got to know each other over a year, and it wasn't letters, it was emails for us.
Oh, yeah. Right.
Emails and phone calls.
Okay.
There's no mobile
Yours
phone
is
then.
way over, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he just got into emails when he was there. So he was writing emails, but they were usually 4-liners. He wasn't great at writing emails. Then he got used to it. And then we started chatting and we got to know each other personally. But what I'm saying is, like, when we have a disagreement now, like we recently just had a disagreement. And I just felt, I think we're at this age now. I mean, 40s. We're in our 40s. And sometimes you feel underappreciated by your children, by your husband, even though we do such a great balancing act, I think, as women. I think we're in general, women are underappreciated.
Yeah.
And it comes across, my kids are 16, so they're in the phase where their hormones are changing as well. They've got GCSEs coming up. They're under stress as well. And my husband's 50 now. So I'm sure there is a male menopause. There is. So he's going through that. I'm going through my own problems. So when you say a comment and it feels like, oh my gosh, I'm trying my best here and no one's appreciating. I mean, you're not appreciating that I cook, I clean, I go to work. I do everything for everyone here, and there's minimal effort from the other side. So my husband got on my train the other day and he said, I'll drive, you drive the train, I'll get on and go around with you. And I had a chat with him while I was driving the train. I said, this is how I feel. Yeah, I felt really underappreciated. And he said, I'm so sorry. And it's one of the few times he was actually genuinely meant it. He said, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to make you feel like that. I don't want you to ever feel that we don't appreciate you or that we don't love you. And I just thought that was, I mean, it's been 22 years, but this is the first time he actually sat down and said, I do appreciate you. I do appreciate everything you do. And I realized that I don't often pick up. When I'm at work, I'm just at work. That's it. I don't think about home. I don't think about the children. Majority of the stuff falls on you, and I'm sorry. He said that, and I was just so happy to hear that.
Yeah.
I just thought, that's perfect. That's all I need. And I said to him, if you feel in any way underappreciated or you need to get something off your chest, it's not a bad thing to tell me, and it's not a bad thing to show weakness and vulnerability. I think men from Nepal need to think like that. I mean, men from here as well. They just need to get to grips with the fact that showing vulnerability to someone you love is not a failure. It's actually strengthens your relationship. So I think that's how we deal with it now. I think saying it rather than sitting there and stewing and going, I hate this person. He doesn't love me anymore.
Yeah.
Rather than thinking like that, just in your head, if you've got it in your head to think, this is what I need to say, and you're not bubbling and crying and stuff, which normally happens to me, and it's okay, and then they take it on board, and then the next day he started cooking and cleaning, and I was like, wow, my God, miracles happen.
But he took it on board, didn't he?
It wasn't
Obviously
just-
reflected.
It wasn't just, oh, I'll put it in this here and take it out, and
Yeah.
I'm sorry. It wasn't like that.
Yeah, it could be reflected in his behavior as well. I'm married for
Exactly.
this long year, and wow, that's great, right? So
They're great communicators.
Yeah. So the generation, they are right now, like the generation we have right now, are like, no, I won't be saying sorry. No, I won't be apologetic.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you think about that?
I think that's scary. I think that, like I said, it's very scary that they don't. It's communication, and it's compromise, and it's honesty, and it's trust. I think that's what you need in relationships now.
Yeah.
I think social media is great. I love it, but you have to be very cautious. And I think the youth of today, they've got very short span,
Yeah.
attention span, and they want instant gratification, and everything has to be now, 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 now. And I think sometimes things take time, whether that's in relationships, that's very, you should take your time with things. It's not going to be after my first meeting, I expect to be in love and this is how it should be. That's not how it works. You have to work at things for things to grow. It's the same it's like planting a plant.
Yeah.
You've got a seed. You don't water it and you don't give it sunshine and you don't give it the nutrition it needs. It's not going to grow to the way you want it to grow, and that's in every relationship. It needs to be like that. I think today's generation needs to take that on board and say it's not a vulnerability. It's not wrong to say I'm sorry when you know that you've made a mistake. But it needs to be two ways. I think my husband from back, a handful of times he said sorry, but he's generally meant it.
Yeah.
Otherwise it's like, let's skim over this issue. We're okay.
Yeah.
But I think saying sorry is not wrong. I think, you should take it on board. And you should say it as well when you realize I've done something wrong and it's not right. I shouldn't act like this,
It's a sign of maturity.
Yeah, I
isn't
think
it?
so.
Yeah.
It is. So, the question is for Kalpana. So, how do you define respect in a fight? Because sometimes, like, people are so absurd during the fight, they say whatever they want to. So, how do you define it? Respect in a fight.
Respect in a fight.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think just kind of being mindful of your own boundaries as well. I feel like and just kind of also respecting the other person's boundaries as well. I know, for example, my husband, he doesn't like name calling. He doesn't like swearing. I wouldn't use any of that. I think that's just going beyond I think it's really disrespectful. Or anything sort of bordering on abuse, for example, like hitting, throwing things and things like that. It's just, kind of maintaining your own boundaries. I mean, you can be angry. I think that's normal to be angry. It's quite normal, it's a normal emotion to have. But being able to control yourself and kind of, I think as you get older, more maturer, I think you're able to kind of hold yourself together and kind of go, let's have a conversation. Let's try and communicate, with each other. I think that's the best way to kind of maintain respect, like for yourself as well as the other person. Because, obviously there's something wrong here. If you're having an argument, there's a reason why you're arguing, but it doesn't help to be disrespectful to each other or abusive or anything. It doesn't help.
Yeah.
So I
And
think
that's not
just
right
kind of,
as well, right?
no, it's not right. Yeah.
So, if you are a matchmaker, right?
Yeah.
So, would you ever match someone who doesn't have the financial security on the other side?
Currently,
They are so in
anyone-
love. Let me tell you.
I mean,
Yeah.
if you're in love, okay, you can work out the financial security together. Like Kalpana and Bass's story, they met when they were very young. So obviously they weren't earning their millions when they were 17, but they probably are now.
I wish.
So it's about building
Yeah.
each other's relationship up from wherever you are. So if you're in love, I think you can have that kind of honest and trust with financial security. As in Lahana, so we have certain categories where if you have someone who is a doctor who is looking for someone who is of their same academic or financial level, which they will write in their profile, we match it with that person. So, I mean, as personally, yes, you both need financial security. Like I said, when I tell my girls that all the time, financial independence is very important. But I also believe that if it's in the profile that they want the same academic level and the same, not, it doesn't necessarily have to be the same career, but they could be at that sort of same level, then they can both have the same interests as well. And in that sense, yeah, definitely it's important. But it also depends on the individual. So when the matches come to us, we try and match them at the same level as each other. But if you're in love and you know what the person is doing and you're building, then it's more about building a relationship.
Okay. So does income, differing affect the relationship somehow? The differ in income, does it affect the relationship?
If you love each other and you know, you share and you trust what each person is earning, and it might not so much. I don't think it does. It also depends on the personality as well. Like I know it's usually the woman probably earns less than the husband, right? So the wife earns less than the husband, and it's supposed to be the husband will bring in the income and look after the kids and the family while you're at home looking after children when they're very young. But for me and my husband, it's he earns quite okay and I earn okay, so we just work it out together. And we've got our own accounts, and we've also got a joint account, and it's never been an issue. Whereas he would say to me, oh, do me more about the body command, or I don't say to him, oh, I'll do more about the body command. It's just a mutual understanding and paying the bills.
Okay. So
it's not really an issue, but I think it's more to do with career choices and academic levels. I think that's very important.
You have to be on the same page as
Yeah,
well in
that's
terms
with the
of
trust.
finances. If you're trying to build a future together, what does that future look like as well? And is it a mutual dream or like a plan for the future, I think you can, like you say, you can sort of, if you have a clear plan for the future, the two of you together, then, you can work. I think it's important to have conversations around finances.
Of course.
When you're in a relationship, whether you're married or not. I think, if you're going to be in a long-term relationship, I think it's very important to definitely discuss where you're headed.
I saw this somewhere. Tell me if I'm wrong, okay? I saw this somewhere. There was a post that said, if a man is financially independent, he says that he will provide to his family. But if a woman is financially independent, she will say that I don't need anyone. I don't need a family. So is that statement correct?
We're
wrong
all
or right?
You see, for us,
Yeah.
I think because we've had this conversation, we've had these conversations, loads of times. Yeah,
Okay.
I mean, us as a group, even with other ladies in our lives that we talk about, for us, it's all about building a life together. So I know his money is my money, and my money is my money. Yeah, it does happen. Yeah, I do get that.
Yeah.
But my husband leaves everything to me, and I just do everything. So he just says, "This is it," and
you are the finance minister of all.
I am definitely. I mean, for me, he just trusts me with everything, and that's how it is. But we know we've got a life together, right? So everything, he knows that I'm not gonna, go out and buy stuff. And I think it's all about trust, isn't it?
I mean, I do think, like women, if they're earning good money and stuff, why can't she still be financially independent and also want to have a family and provide for her family and build a beautiful life for the family? Isn't that what we're all doing? Isn't it?
Exactly.
We're all working
all doing
hard
together as a unit.
Yeah,
we're a unit.
Yeah,
I think the posts that you've seen or we've seen on the internet, rather than, I don't think it's trying to say, I think what we should take from it is that women can be independent, but they can look after everyone as well.
Yeah.
Just as a man can do, just as a woman could do. We're kind of on the same level now. Before, in our parents' generation, it used to be very much the father going out, and the mother staying at home. So, that kind of information would be all right. And now people are getting independent. Even in Nepal, when you're looking for a marriage, even an arranged marriage, they say, is the woman working? because they know that double the income is good for the household now. Your education is expensive for your children's future, for healthcare even. They're like, oh, is she educated now? Has she got a job as a nurse or a doctor or whatever? It'll help the family out. So I think we need to take that into perspective. I mean, for me, when my husband first came into the country, I was the main breadwinner. He never said to me, God, you're the main breadwinner. This is so wrong. He knew that he was starting from scratch here. He left the country he knew all his life to come and join a new life here, but we were building together, so it didn't make a difference. So it wasn't my money is my money. It was my money is our money. Now it's our money is my money. But, you know.
But it's very important for both sides to have their own money and have their own security. I think that's really important. Because even though, I mean, like I said, he's got his own and I have my own. But then when it comes to like bills, payment, children, car, you know, all of this stuff, then obviously I handle it. But for him, he needs to have his own as well. So, yeah, I think it goes like both of them. The partner, the husband should have his own, the wife should have their own, and they should have it together as well.
Okay. All the women who is watching this podcast, tell them how important is financial independence.
I think we've touched upon that, right? It was like,
So important.
so
It's the most
important.
important thing.
Yeah, because you don't know, I suppose when you're in a relationship, you think that it's going to be you're going to communicate great, you're going to speak to, you know, you love each other, it's hearts and flowers all the time. No, it's not. You're going to have disagreements, you're going to have issues. You want to go out with your friends. When you want to go out with your friends or you want to go a weekend away somewhere with the girls, why do you want to turn around and ask your husband, oh, can you give me £500 because I want to, you know, go away with my friends? And then he'll do it once, he'll do it twice. But if it's regular, like 3-4 times a year, and you don't have your own money, to spend, then he will question it. He will say, and why do you want to be in that position? You need to have, you know, back in the day, my mum used to always say, and this is quite a thing, he goes, आफ्नो लोग्नेसँग एउटा लिपस्टिक किन्नले किन पैसा माग्ने आफ्नो पैसा हुनुपर्छ नि. My mum, you know, I'm talking about something so little like a lipstick, but my mum always said that to me, आफ्नो पैसा आफ्नो हुनुपर्छ, तिम्रो आफ्नो security गर्नुपर्छ. So even if you want to buy lipstick, you should use your own money to buy it. So yeah, I think it's very important on both ways. Same with my husband. He wants to buy a can of beer, you know, he's got his own money to buy it.
I mean, I work with, you know, because I work with a lot of domestic abuse victims, and that's one of the reasons why a lot of women who are in abusive situations can't leave their relationship immediately, because they don't have their own finances or they don't have stable immigration or stable income, you know. So I feel like a lot of women, I'm not saying that, you know, women with money are not stuck in abusive relationships. I'm just saying that it makes it easier to have your own money, you know.
I want to touch something over here. So recently someone just texted me. It was one of my followers. She told me that she was cheated by her husband, but she doesn't have a financial security now. She has a child as well. So in that case, how does things work for her, like legals and everything? Do you know about it?
I can tell you. I mean, it'd be helpful to know what immigration status she has, because if she's
an ILR.
If she's got ILR, then she would have access to public funds, which means she can access housing from the council. She can, if she hasn't got money of her own, then she can apply for benefits. So there's lots of help. It helps that she has an ILR status for sure.
How about the man? Should he be providing to the child or anything like that?
100%. She can get child maintenance. So that's not something she can ask. I mean, it's not something that she has to ask for straight away. I would advise that she's in a sort of safe place first with her child and then apply for child maintenance, because that's his child as well. Why should she have to be the only one who's, you know, providing for the child, you know?
It's such off topic. I'm so sorry. I
No,
had to
no,
ask
no,
this.
no.
Yeah.
It's important.
So I mean, 100%. He should be 100%. He should be like
He's
contributing
liable to provide for the children.
Yeah. So I mean, if she applies through the child maintenance agency, then, you know, they would be able to kind of calculate what his income is, and they could take a portion of it and then pay it to the mum for the child or the children, you know. So there are options, you know, but it's really important to, I think if she is in a situation, I think it'd be really, useful for her to contact a local, I don't know where she is, so a local domestic violence agency, then she would get a support worker who could help her navigate what her options are.
Okay.
For sure.
Okay. Makes sense. Okay, now let's talk about for women, most of the women, how do they feel more loved? Is it like a word of affirmation or the physical touch or
Oh, I think it's a combination.
Yeah.
For me, it's a combination, definitely.
Me too.
I don't think that just words of affirmation are going to help if you're physically not doing anything. If you're not showing some sort of physical gratitude as well, saying, look, I'll make you dinner today. You know, you're tired, I'll make you dinner. I know my husband does that. He cooks. And if I make, you know, he'll do stuff for the kids as well. When I say, sometimes you have to guide them, but other times he loves his kids that way as well. He loves cooking for them. He loves doing things for them. He loves doing things for me as well. He may not say, I love you all the time. I think I can count on my hand how many times he said, I love you to me at first. And how many times I've said, he does say, I love you back. But it's not a natural thing that comes to him because in Nepal, it never used to be anything he got from his parents. They showed it and physically they cooked for him, they fed him, they hugged him, but they didn't really, that you don't get I love you so easily back home.
Yeah.
I think my mum is in her 80s now and she's finally saying I love you to me after I say I love you to her on the phone. So it's taken a lot of years and I think that's the background that he's from. But if I say I love you to him, he says it back to me, which is great. He says I love you to the kids all the time. But he many times he said, would you just like me to say the words and not show up with any actions behind those words? So if I say I love you, is that enough for you? And for me not to do anything at home, not to do anything with the children, would that be enough for you? And I say, no, I need a combination of this, please. If that's how it works, and it's great communication if you can say to them, this is what I need from you, and they don't take it as a criticism. They can say, okay, I can change to make you feel more secure. And if I ask him, what do you need from me? And I realize that if I do acts of service for him, and I don't mean physically, I mean like, if I do acts of service, like clean the house, or he sees me, he comes from work and I'm washing the dishes, he's like, ooh, my wife's washing dishes, wow, thank you. That's what I meant. Okay.
सबैको आफ्नो आफ्नो love language हुन्छ, isn't it? I think for my husband, like he shows love through acts of service. He's very he's quite touchy-feely actually, and he's also he'll tell me, like he'll text me and say I miss you or I love you. I like all of that. It's like a package. Like for me, I like all of that.
so it won't be a particular thing?
Not a particular thing. So I mean, like I mean, the way you express love might be like, for my husband, his strongest suit is acts of service. Like I was telling the girls yesterday when I woke up late, I came downstairs, he'd already made an omelette for himself, but he'd got everything ready so when I come down, he can make me an omelette. So he went and made me omelette, and then he cut an avocado for me and he peeled an orange for me. So when I was eating and he was like listening to me going, you know, dum 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 dum, and like, you know, like, so for him that's his strongest suit. But I like it when he is also, you know, we're quite a PDA couple. Like I love hugs and kisses and holding hands and, you know, and the text saying I love you. I love all of that. So I want all of that. But his strongest way of showing love is through acts of service.
Okay, so these two girls have husbands in different generations.
Yeah.
My husband comes from a totally different generation. And PDA, no. And acts of service, if is very minimum. So words of affirmations is out the window. And out the window. So the best thing that he can do, because he's going to probably watch this, is can you cut the grass? Get the lawnmower out. You know, that needs to be done. And can you fix that cupboard door? So... And that's acts of service. This is what I need from him. And he might basal the bath sometimes in the right basal the bath sometimes. These are all acts of service for me, and that's how he shows his love. And I take it on board.
It differs from person to person, right?
Yeah.
And I take it on board. Yeah.
Cut the grass, yeah.
Cut the grass
Get
and
the
basal the
lawnmower
bath
out.
through.
Yeah.
Goodness.
These would be perfect for me. Like I said, we're from a different generation. And yeah.
Ah,
But look, we've been married 30 years this year. So, we must
Quite a
be
long
doing
time.
something right.
yeah.
There must be something there. There you go.
Okay. So, as our body changes, like with the passing time, yeah.
Menopause, yeah.
Yeah. How do you say your physical intimacy evolves?
Okay, I would pass on this. So, like I said, I have a lot of brothers, I think, and my kids, and they will probably be cringing at this right now.
Yeah.
So I'll pass on this question.
Yeah.
I would
How does it evolve? Like generally, how does this?
I think it's quite natural for it to have, for the physical intimacy aspects to go up sometimes. Sometimes it's down. You have a lot of stresses in your life, Things happen, shit happens all the time. So I think it's quite natural for times for the intimacy to peak and to ebb and flow. I think that's quite natural. But I think it's really important to communicate, I think, and you're not always going to be at the same level as well, So you're not feeling that great about yourself, for example, and you might be feeling sort of, inadequate sometimes, like there can be lots of things that can be sort of causing an issue, but I think it's always important to have communication about it. What is it that you need at that time? So I think it's quite a natural process. I think for physical intimacy to change over time and evolve, it can get worse, it can get better, but I think it's really important to be on the same page and to have conversations about it. And also, the thing is, it's a very important part. If you're in a marriage or in a partnership with someone, it's a very, very important part of it. Otherwise, you're just flatmates, isn't it? if you're not doing it, then you're flatmates. So it's like, I think it's important to kind of, revisit it and just go, what's going on in this department, address garnu paryo alikati, So I think it's really important to have these conversations. I think it's a very important part of a relationship.
Yeah.
I feel.
So during this matchmaking process, do they even talk about this kind of stuff?
No.
No.
Yeah.
About their reproductive health?
No.
No. Right?
We haven't touched upon that at all. We do have, we talk about a lot of young people being matched and everything, but we must say we do have people that are divorcees and those who have children as well that are also looking for a second chance. So we do also match divorcees, those with children, those who are in their late 40s. We've got some in their 50s. So we do want to say that we do have a lot of people on our books that are looking for a love the second time. And I think that's perfectly okay.
Yeah,
but
I don't think we've ever asked them about their reproductive health. Have you had your test?
But we do want them to tell us if you have children or if your preference are, like some of them don't mind marrying a divorcee as long as they don't have kids, but some people have filled out profiles and said, whether if they want a child in their life or if they don't want a child in their life, they do actually fill that out and they do actually tell us. So and that's how we match them.
We do ask for sexuality though, because that's
another thing.
We're open to matching people who are LGBTQ plus. And beyond.
That's an important question, definitely.
Yeah. So,
what is your preference? Male, female?
Yeah, we can't just assume that they're just, No, we haven't had one yet. But the thing is, we've put it out there that if you're Nepali and you're, LGBTQ plus, then we'd like to match.
But in couple matching, might not ask them about all of this stuff, but I guess the couple do. Or the family
they should do.
Yeah?
They should definitely do. When we match them, it's the people,
right?
the individual get together.
Yeah.
Because I've had someone in the past ask me about that actually.
Yeah.
When it was an arranged marriage, this was when I was much younger before I met my husband. They asked me about, are you able to have children? Because obviously, when you're matching as a lomi, you're matching, you want to know that this person can carry on the generations and can have children. But for us, we're not in that role. We're in the role to just introduce people.
Yeah.
And whether you want children or not, often they put it in that form. And then they can get together. Because we don't think, this is once they get together and they start talking, it's like a dating process, isn't it? We're not, it's not like, oh, you're arranged marriage, okay, you say yes to each other and you're going to get married next week. Like I said, we've got someone that's been dating for 3 years and we're still waiting for them to pop the question. So, you know, it's a longer process, but it's for them to get to know each other. So I think those type of questions come when the individuals meet and they can say, you know, I'm really looking forward to having children. What are your ideas on this, you know? And a lot of our people, we do have people that are under 30, but a majority of them are in their 30s at least. So they are looking for love. And like you said, as you hit the older ages, it might be more difficult to have children. But then that's for them to discuss on their own one-to-one level.
Actually, we did make this one mistake where there was a couple, we didn't ask the question. And it is a very important question, actually, you know, as we're discussing. So the mistake was that we got a gentleman and a lady, we got them together, were talking. And the gentleman doesn't want to have children. He doesn't want children at all. But whereas the lady, obviously, the reason why she wants to be matched and married is to have children. So I think it's quite important that now we moving forward, would you like children in the future? Some do actually say no, because we have actually come to a point where there are a lot of couples that don't want children, and there are people that do. So this is one of the mistakes that we made, because we don't do conventional matches. It's not a swipe left and right and match the pictures. We look at their profiles. So that's now, I think now this is the question that we ask: would you like to have children in the future? And obviously we match them with those who do want children and of those who don't want children. So that's quite important as well. Not just about your reproductive system, whether it's, you know, healthy, you can, or you're not, but it's the fact that even though you're healthy, some people don't want children anymore. It's quite difficult now, isn't it?
You know, the concept of matchmaking is quite popular in the Indian community, but it's quite new in Nepalese community.
Yes.
So I guess people will get to know more about it after this podcast. So whoever is watching this podcast, what do you want to tell them about this?
It's a really confidential process. Like, there's no website, there's no app where your photo is on it. So other people don't know that you're looking for a match. So it is, some people like that aspect that other people don't know. They don't have, no one needs to know how you met. Nobody needs to know how you met your partner. So that, I think that's one thing I'd like to kind of put out there as well. And I think also be open. I think be open-minded about the matches that you get. I think some people are very rigid. They have very definite ideas of what they're looking for in a partner. And then they don't want to go beyond that.
They want to, they don't want to look at new things. And I think it happens a lot when you're financially independent, you're well educated. You think, why can't I get a person that's just like this? They have to have this type of hair, they have to have this type of job, this type of thing. And sometimes you need to explore. You need to give it a chance. You need to say, okay, this is why I said about the blind date. It's like, if you haven't seen a picture of them, all you go by is their profile, and you're like, okay, let's just go for coffee. And then you never know, you could click. That's how you do when you're swiping left or right. You just look at that picture and you think, I could go for a coffee at least and see how it goes. I think you need to give it a chance. And it's not a short process. It's not like, oh, okay, I'm going to date tomorrow, I'm going to marry tomorrow. You know, you've got to realize it's going to take a while. And it's also, you want to get to know that person before you get married as well. You know, although we matchmake, we don't expect people to marry tomorrow. We expect people to be in a relationship for a while and go, okay, am I suited to this person? Really, are we getting on? You know, our family's getting on, maybe even. So, you know, we expect it to evolve like that. But don't think you're going to get an instant match and that's it, you're done. You know, it takes time. Everything good comes in life. It takes time. That's what I was saying.
So do you have a client like that who wants like an instant match? Or...
We did.
Yeah,
we had one as well.
Yeah, we did. But you know, like in Nepal, even once you've met each other, 2 weeks later, if there's a lagan, they're married.
Oh,
you know, I know that of families as well. You know, I mean, this is what happens in Nepal. But there have been quite a few that just wants to instantly get married and move on. But they, you know, it's like I said, it's personal preference. We're open to anything if this is what you want. And again, but we do say you need to get to know the person at least. I mean, don't just dive in because everything matches. Just get to know each other first. I say give it at least 6-7 months.
You know, there's this one series, matchmaking series in Netflix.
The Seema one.
Seema Auntie.
Yeah, I think so. I don't remember though. I just
the Indian one.
The Indian matchmaking. Indian matchmaking.
Yeah. I can imagine you three.
This is Kalpana Auntie. I'm Pushpa. I'm not Kalpana Auntie.
You forgot my name.
I'm here.
Yeah, I'm sorry, it's the vibe. You know, that way you're back. You're back the same person.
Yeah. I can, manifest your life on that kind of series someday.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's us. Well, actually, we would like to announce we're doing a reality show. No, we're not.
That'd be so
I was like,
fun.
We're on Netflix next week.
Yeah, that'd be so fun.
Oh my god.
I went,
So
what?
much fun,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Actually, Seema Auntie was recently interviewed by the BBC Sound or BBC Asia Network. I can't remember. So I saw her clip. And she actually says people in India, people in Asia, what they do is they match and they're married within a month or two. So, but she's having the issue with those in the West, they all take their time. 2-3 years, they're still not. And even if they're together for 2-3 years, they don't want to get married. So, it's also that cultural difference between Nepal and India and us living in the UK and America. So we don't think you should make any rush decisions. Our job is looking at your profile, seeing if they match. If you click and then you go ahead and,
Yeah, I mean, it's
See if it
based on the
works.
individuals as well.
Yeah,
if you
it's
click
up
and
to
you think,
you.
okay, I want to get married next month, then that's your choice.
Yeah.
We put you together hoping that things will work out, but there's no specific timeline of when you will actually get married if you do, even. All we want to do is match people that get into relationships and are happy. That's what we want to do it's like an introductory system, really.
Exactly.
So the couple be together if they are unhappy.
Mm-hmm.
But in our community, there's a what do you say that? There's like a stigma of staying together until both partner or one of the partner cheats or do some domestic violence. So do you think divorce should be done if they are unhappy? What's your say on that?
You're looking at me as me.
Yeah, what's your say on that? Yeah.
I think nowadays, especially the next generation, if there is even a bit of unhappiness, I think people will go down the let's be apart route. I think with our generation, it's very much, and I hope for future generations, I hope they think this, that it's like work on it. Obviously, if there's domestic violence, I don't think there's no question for me.
Yeah.
There's no place of, let's try and mediate on this, because when there's violence involved, whether it's from the male or the female, I just think that you should be apart and be safe. That's my main thing. But when it's to do with disagreements, unhappiness in the marriage, what's the root of that disagreement? What's the root of the unhappiness? If you can find what that is, and we were talking about this earlier about mediation, about counselling, couples counselling, maybe you could do that. But really, if you're not, there are so many things. I was talking about a friend that's no longer in love with her partner.
Yeah.
And she's starting something else with someone else, but she's no longer in love with her partner anymore. She treats him as a friend. So in those type of cases, you've got to realize no type of mediation or counseling is going to work. She's already got someone else that she wants to spend the rest of her life with. So no matter what that husband does, he's not going to win her back. She's already relegated him to, you're my friend only now. So I don't think you can work on that way. But what is a genuine unhappiness? Is it because finances is a struggle? Is it because you're not doing enough in the house? There's so many things that could be the root of the unhappiness in that marriage, and counselling and mediation can help in those type of things. But if it's to do with, like you said, domestic violence, then a no, definitely. But I think if you can communicate and say, look, we need to figure this out. We want it to work, but we need to figure out what's going on here. We need to figure it out. We need to go through counselling. We need help. And I think people don't reach out for help. Yeah. I think it's a big stigma for people to say, I'm failing in my marriage and I don't know what to do. I've had that before where people, I know that have not come to me and asked, can you help me? Even to get advice. And I think that's where the communication is where the downfall is. And this idea of stigma, my goodness, if you're unhappy in a marriage and there's something wrong, what's wrong with asking for help? It's not wrong to ask for help. Because you're trying to survive in a situation where you think, I can't do this anymore. It's killing me. Then why are you not asking for help? Ask for help. It's not wrong too. I think in our parents' generation, they're very much put up with everything. I don't care about the alcoholism. I don't care about people beating me up. It's okay. And I think that's wrong. I think it's really wrong. I think you have to ask for help. And if you have friends, family, cousins that can help you, then take that help, God damn it. Don't just sit there and go, I'm just going to suffer because I'm Sati Savitri and this is my role in my life. It's not like that. You shouldn't be like that. And we've all got daughters.
Yeah.
We wouldn't want our daughters to go through this. My goodness, if someone's beating you up, you're going to tell your daughter, oh no, I'm mero nak kaat sa sabi ko dama, you know, take it. Doesn't matter. You're with him now. No. God damn it, I'll take her out of that situation myself. I'll call the police.
Yeah.
You know, so ask for help.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid to ask for help, because there's so many people. Like you said, someone contacted you through the podcast and said, can you help me?
Yeah.
You're willing to help. You're willing to ask her questions
Yeah.
when you know she works. There are so many avenues you can get help. Now, please don't be discouraged.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Wow. That was so sweet, right? But that's really, really, really informative. Okay?
But I think in a more personal aspect, this is like quite extreme with domestic violence and cheating and everything. And but I think, like with my own personal experience and through friends and family that I do know and our little circle, I got married when I was very young, and I spent a year in Nepal. And I'm born and raised in this country. I never spent time in Nepal at all. So to marry someone from Nepal who is in his late 20s, who's already established there, and me going in as a buari into this home was, I mean, I could speak forever about that time. But it's all about, if you're talking about the relationship, for him, he saw me as being Gargo Buari, and I should be doing, you know, cook upstairs, clean downstairs, then, you know, wake up in the morning and do that whole cycle, puja gara, all of that. And that wasn't me. I mean, it just not me, because I was raised here. I've got other aspirations. And I started getting very unwell when I was in Nepal. I mean, you know, I miss my family. You know, little things like washing your clothes by hand. I never did that before. I had to, you know, learn how to do these things, you know. And then he realized, he's like, oh my God, mera swasnita morna atyo, ule London pathaunu paryo, back London. He's like, oh my God, I need to send him back. So then, come on, let's go and live our life in London. So what happened is, it's about adaptation. So it's compromise and adapting. And if we have to work at it. If there's been a moment where, you know, a person has cheated, then you need to work. Is it a one-night stand? Or is it because you've fallen in love with this person? There's different circumstances in that. And like Kanchan said about working through it and therapy, are you going to destroy a life that you've built with your kids because he's had a one-night stand or because he's cheating with someone else? I think it's something to talk about. I mean, even if you go back to speaking about the Beckhams, you know, even Victoria Beckham, you know, David cheated, but she had a unit, they're a brand, but look, they're still together because they've worked through it. I mean, I'm just saying, you know, how they are. So I think a lot of people make harsh decisions. And if you talk about divorce and say, right, okay, I'm leaving, it has to be a decision that you've really thought about and left your life. And I think that's very important. In any case, if you're truly unhappy, you're truly, you know, don't want to be in that relationship, you can't stand your husband, you can't stand your wife, then yeah, of course, you have to leave. But if you can work at it and you think that things can be improved and better, then you should work at it as well. I think that's quite important.
Yeah. So
I mean, if you've tried everything and it doesn't
if you've
work,
tried
then
everything,
I think it's probably best to part ways. I think.
Okay. So now we are kind of, you know, end to this podcast, but there's this last question. So how can people grow in marriage? How can they grow?
How can they grow in marriage?
I don't know. I think it's a difficult question to answer.
I think everyone's journey is different, isn't it?
Everyone's journey is different, but I think you have to look at it as a partnership. Like, you're not just husband and wife, but you also, you know, you should consider each other as companions, as best mates, besties. Like, and only then I think you can sort of flourish. I think you should have a unified vision or a goal of how you want your life to be, and just kind of, you know, be open and honest with each other and work together. I think communication is very key. I think it's the most important aspect of a relationship. And to be on the same page. I think I've said that. I keep going on the same page, but that is what it is at the end of the day. For a marriage to be successful, for a relationship to be successful, I think if you can look at your partner and say, well, you know, actually we're a team. I think that's the best.
Communication is very important. Respecting each other is important.
each other.
Loving each other's families is important. Not
Honesty.
disrespecting honesty is important. And I think also another aspect is respecting each other's families as well. That is, I think that is a
100%.
major thing. Yeah.
Also independence as well.
And your own independence.
Yeah, because I think it's really important to have your own time
Yeah.
and to love yourself as a person.
As you get older as well, I think you need that time for yourself.
Yeah, I
I
mean,
mean, your family grows, you have a lot of other pressures. I know for me, my girly time is like, you know, it's like having mental health
reboot.
Yeah, it feels fantastic.
We have a few of those, don't we?
Yeah. It's like we get together.
Yeah.
and
Good to have the girlies, right?
Yeah,
Right?
exactly.
We go on
Yeah.
holidays together. My husband goes on boy holidays together.
That's so cool.
Goes off with the guys, we go off with the girls, and then we have our holidays. And it's also important to have one-to-one time together. I think as a couple, I think sometimes it's easy to forget when you've been in a long relationship who you are as a couple and the romance and things like that. So I think it's really important to revisit that romance. You need to look at your partner with fresh eyes all the time, because you kind of overlook some things about your partner, you know. So you need to sometimes kind of go,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
clear your eyes and go,
Yeah, I know you do.
do you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
like, I think you need to have a fresh outlook sometimes, you know, and you know, yeah, just I think it's, I don't know, combination of things, you know, just, you know, like I said, like having unified vision, but also having, like you said as well, having respecting and loving each other's families and you know, making them your own as well.
I think humour is quite
Humor is
humour
gosh,
is
yeah.
you've got to laugh with your
you
husband.
have to laugh.
Yeah, if he doesn't laugh, I'm in there trying to
Yeah,
make him laugh, even though how much I annoy him. But yeah, I think humour's a huge thing.
Yeah.
Like, you've got to laugh with each
You've
other.
got to
as
laugh
well.
about everything as well together.
You've got to have a laugh and a joke,
You know, and
mutual understanding.
when your kids are, you know, driving you nuts, and then he cracks a joke, and I'm like, okay, that's fine, I'm better now.
Ranjan's way sub is always cracking jokes.
Yeah, he's always. I mean, the thing is, he's just like my dad. My dad passed away many years ago, but they have very similar traits. He was a chef, and he cooks really well. And then the humor. It's the humor that's great. It's like we're always laughing.
Keeps you going.
And I'm like, that's a really awful joke, honey. And he goes, yeah, but made you laugh, didn't it? I'm like, okay.
Bless him.
I mean, just going back to the whole thing about the teamwork as well. Like, I think if you've got children, I think it really helps to parent from, you know, the same page. You know, like to have, because I think it's confusing for children if mummy's saying one thing and daddy is saying something else. I think it confuses the hell out of the children. So I think whenever, like, that's what I did with my kids. Is like, Bas and I, we would always discuss things and go, okay, well, this is how we're going to do things, or address something with the kids, you know, so we can actually, you know, emphasize and fortify what we mean, and so the kids have a clear sort of understanding of what we want them to do, or, you know. So I think being, together, like having the same decision helps in parenting as well. And like I said, having the one-to-one time, like even when the children were very small, me and Bas, we would go on holidays together. Like it's great having my parents here, because I was like, here, nati na lailino mo. I mean, that's mo batin din ko lagi. You know? So it was nice. Or going on dates, you know, or going for picnics and things like that. I mean, that's so important to have that one-to-one. Sometimes you can forget yourself as a couple. Yeah. Like when you're a mother, that role overtakes everything. You know, everything is about the children. You know, and you forget yourself. You forget your love, the romance, you forget your husband, you forget everything when it comes to the kids. So I think it's important to always remember who you are.
And relive those moments, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Oh my God, it was such an incredible session. I had a lot to take me as well. Yeah. So thank you so much. 3 incredible women in my podcast for the first time. It was so much fun. Thank you for your presence. You added so much value to this podcast. So yes, guys, this is it. Thank you for watching this podcast till the end. But before you leave, do not forget to subscribe to my channel. Also follow me on TikTok and Instagram. As you know, the short clip of this very long session for the value will be uploaded there. See you all in next episode. Till then, be resilient. Namaste.